Strategized generic product ranking script while prioritizing factual accuracy. Strategized generic product ranking script while prioritizing factual accuracy. Protein powder sits in more kitchen cabinets than almost any other supplement on Earth. And yet, most people scooping it into their morning shake have no idea what they're actually drinking. So today, we're counting down 10 of the most common types of protein powder from worst to best, based on what independent lab testing, ingredient transparency, and nutritional science actually tell us. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly what to look for. The next time you're standing in that supplement aisle feeling completely overwhelmed. Starting at number 10, the worst of the bunch, we have the ultra-cheap mass market. Whey concentrate blends that flood big box stores with flashy marketing and rock-bottom prices. And the reason these land at the bottom isn't just that they're low quality. It's that independent testing over the years has repeatedly found heavy metals like lead, arsenic, and cadmium in trace amounts in a surprising number of budget protein powders, often because the whey is sourced from cattle raised on land with contaminated soil or because processing equipment isn't properly maintained. And when you combine that with a heavy reliance on artificial sweeteners, cheap thickening gums, and proprietary blends that hide exactly how much actual protein you're getting versus filler, you end up with a product that looks like a health food but behaves a lot more like a chemistry experiment. Coming in at number 9 are the meal replacement style protein powders that market themselves as all-in-one nutrition solutions. And while the concept sounds appealing, the execution is often a mess because in trying to cram vitamins, fiber, probiotics, and protein into one scoop, manufacturers frequently end up with unstable formulations where certain nutrients degrade during processing or storage, meaning the numbers on the label don't always reflect what's actually bioavailable by the time it reaches your body. And many of these products lean heavily on maltodextrin and added sugars to make the taste palatable, which quietly undermines the entire premise of a healthy meal replacement. At number 8, we have plant-based protein blends made primarily from pea and rice protein without any additional processing considerations. And the issue here isn't the protein source itself. Pea and rice protein can be excellent. It's that many of these products are produced using high heat extraction methods that can degrade amino acid quality, and in some documented cases, introduce trace contaminants from the solvents used during processing. And because plant proteins are generally less complete on their own, poorly formulated versions fail to properly combine amino acid profiles, leaving you with a protein source that looks impressive on paper, but doesn't actually deliver everything your muscles need to repair and grow. Number 7 belongs to flavored casein powders from lesser-known brands. And casein itself is actually a fantastic slow-digesting protein that's great before bed. But the problem with a lot of these lower-tier products is the sheer volume of artificial flavoring and emulsifiers required to make casein palatable, since casein has a naturally thick, chalky texture that's hard to mask. And manufacturers trying to cut costs often use lower-grade cocoa processing or synthetic vanilla compounds that have been linked in some consumer testing to inconsistent ingredient sourcing, which means the product you buy in January might have a meaningfully different formulation than the one you buy in June. Sitting right in the middle at number 6 are mainstream whey isolate powders from major national brands. And this is where things start to genuinely improve, because whey isolate undergoes additional filtration compared to concentrate, stripping out most of the lactose and fat while concentrating the actual protein content. And reputable large brands generally have more rigorous quality control simply because they have more to lose from a public testing scandal, though they still often rely on artificial sweeteners like sucralose or acesulfame potassium. And some independent testing has found that even trusted names occasionally show trace amounts of heavy metals, just at levels significantly lower than the budget options we covered earlier. Number 5 is where we start seeing brands that voluntarily publish third-party lab testing results. And this transparency matters enormously, because a company that's willing to show you exactly what's in their product, batch by batch, is fundamentally operating with a different philosophy than one that hides behind proprietary blends. And these mid-tier transparent brands typically use cleaner sweetening agents like stevia or monk fruit instead of artificial alternatives. And while they're not perfect, the willingness to be tested by outside labs and publish the results, good or bad, puts them well ahead of anything we've discussed so far. At number 4, we have organic grass-fed whey protein, and this category benefits from a fundamentally better starting point because cattle raised on pasture without hormones or unnecessary antibiotics tend to produce milk with a more favorable fatty acid profile and fewer contaminant risks. And organic certification, while not flawless, does impose meaningful restrictions on pesticide use in the feed supply chain. And when you combine that cleaner sourcing with isolate or hydrolysate processing methods that preserve amino acid integrity, you get a product that performs well, both nutritionally and in terms of what independent testing tends to find, or rather doesn't find, in the way of contaminants. Number 3 goes to properly formulated plant-based blends that combine multiple protein sources, typically pea, rice, and sometimes hemp or pumpkin seed together. Because when these are engineered thoughtfully, the amino acid profiles complement each other in a way that single-source plant proteins simply can't achieve on their own, and the better brands in this category use cold processing techniques that preserve protein quality without the heat degradation issues we talked about earlier, making this an excellent option for anyone who's lactose intolerant or avoiding dairy for other reasons, without sacrificing the completeness of the amino acid profile. At number 2, we have whey protein isolate that's been through additional hydrolysis, essentially pre-digesting the protein into smaller peptide chains. And while this process does add cost, it results in a product that's absorbed faster. It tends to be gentler on digestion for people who normally experience bloating with regular whey, and testing consistently shows minimal additives are needed because hydrolyzed protein doesn't require the same masking agents that lower quality powders depend on to be palatable, making it a favorite among athletes and anyone with a sensitive stomach who still wants the muscle building benefits of high quality dairy protein. And finally, at number 1, the best of the best, we land on minimally processed single ingredient protein powders, whether that's a pure grass-fed whey isolate or a clean single source plant protein with nothing added but the protein itself. No artificial sweeteners, no gums, no proprietary blends, no mystery fillers, just the protein and maybe a touch of natural flavoring. And what puts this category at the very top isn't flashy marketing. It's the complete absence of things to worry about, because when a company is confident enough in their sourcing and processing to sell you a product with a 5-ingredient label instead of a 50-ingredient label, that confidence usually reflects a genuine commitment to quality rather than a marketing gimmick. And at the end of the day, the fewer things a company needs to add to make their product taste good and look impressive, the more you can trust that what you're paying for is exactly what your body actually needs. So there you have it. The full countdown from the products you should probably think twice about to the ones genuinely worth the extra few dollars. And if you take away one thing from all of this, let it be that ingredient transparency and third-party testing matter far more than flashy packaging or celebrity endorsements ever will. Because your body doesn't care how good the marketing looked on the shelf. It only cares about what's actually inside that scoop.